And now it is 15. We still debate things in the break here. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, he has joined the GOP field, not shocking, but an interesting candidate. He is leading in Iowa as Mr. Walker, which is, of course, the first caucus state. Conservative message apparently resonating there. He's particularly far right on issues when it comes to abortion, staunchly pro-life. He's also the only major candidate who doesn't have a college degree. And his appeal that he's the everyman here, at least in at least in the early states here, seems to maybe play. It also fits well with a very popular Republican attack line attacking what they call those elitists, including words that usually are attached, as you can probably hear, Dominic, to Barack Obama with a Harvard law degree and everything else. I'm sure you're going to say it has something to do with more than just a law degree. But anyway, now the question is, when the GOP goes there, does it risk appealing to be anti-intellectual, whatever? And where is the country on this? I got to tell you, if you read his bio, he joined the Red Cross, I think it was, and then he just didn't go back. And whatever you like him, don't like him, he certainly seems competent. I don't think it's a disqualifier. But we've never had this before, where you don't have a president with a college degree. And is it in today's landscape, if you come out and say, hey, I'm with you guys, I'm not one of those intellectual elites, is that a sign of incuriosity, which you're the leader of the free world, for crying out loud, or is that something that has a better chance of resonating now than maybe it used to, where if you have a Harvard law degree, you almost keep it to yourself? What do you think?
Listen, I think...
Try to answer the question instead of going on some tangent here.
I'm going to answer it. But look, we've seen a lot of people who have had Ivy League degrees, who have been president, who have been vice president, and people who didn't think they're the most intelligent people also. And I'm not going to name them. I'm sure people can guess.
Yes.
Right? So I think it doesn't matter. So some people may matter, but I think ultimately it doesn't matter. What matters is your leadership and your ability to not have your intelligence questioned. So perhaps if he spells words wrong, which a vice president candidate did, and a senator, or if he mispronounced things or is grammatically incorrect, something like that, people will take that into account. So certainly it will play there. Absent that, it doesn't matter. We're going to really look at his leadership skills and also his positions on, economics, immigration, and other important issues.
In fact, we're seeing a live picture right now from Wisconsin where the governor will formally announce what many of us expected.
No tie. Again, no tie. Maybe if he went to college, he'd be wearing a tie.
No,
my goodness.
Yeah.
It's only for those intellectual
I want them all to
guys.
dress like Andrew.
Yeah. But Congressman, seriously,
Yes, sir.
No tie.
I know it doesn't, we know all of us, people in walks of life here, doctors, lawyers, whatever else, that just because they've got a lot of letters at the end of their degrees, it does no way make them a rocket scientist.
No.
And you can find people that have never even gone past grade school and come to this country have been huge successes. So I know that's not the only barometer, but we have seen some people delight in ignorance, saying, I don't care what those people say or whatever, this is what I think, and facts be damned, I'll have my opinion.
Degrees.
Some do, but my point is, I made the example today.
I've met him,
my
baby.
grandfather, my late grandfather, drove a bus and a trolley, but he would never get out of the house before he would read 2 newspapers every day because he never wanted to be a situation where he didn't know something. And this is a broad statement, not about Walker. You don't see that as much anymore. People almost take pride in the fact that they don't know as much as some other folks. You've been on Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
There are not only committees that are put on, that are details and depth of information, and context is important, especially when you're dealing with foreign policy. It helps to have seen a little bit of the world here, not just to come from whatever hamlet. And again, this is no judgment on him.
Right.
Isn't intellectual curiosity more than something that's good, but something that, for crying out loud, we should almost demand out of our electeds?
Richard, with all due respect, it is inherently elitist to somehow imply that intellectual curiosity is lacking in someone who does not happen to have the imprimatur of a college degree.
I didn't say it did. I said when people celebrate that they don't know stuff, and I didn't say he did.
No, that's right. And the most parochial, blindered, blinkered group in the country is actually the editorial board of the New York Times. Probably every one of which
Amen.
has a four-year
Amen.
degree.
Oh, we got
Thank
Dominic
you.
over there.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you, Dominic.
Reverend Carter.
I'm not-
Reverend Carter.
Because
dead
that is the
serious, Richard.
biggest group of elitists that think they're better than everybody else, and none of them know what they're talking about.
Exactly.
I said it.
Push
And
Shaw.
they think they know.
They think they know
Exactly.
everything.
Exactly. And one
Have
of
you
the
read
most-
any other editorial pages like the Post? Since when have they said
I
on the
tried-
one hand or on the other? Give me a break.
Hey, the Post has livelier, more interesting, more fact-based reporting.
Fact-based? I think they had the aliens landing in
the
it.
editorial
Boy.
page than the New York Times.
Fact-based.
But here's the
So much
other
for
thing,
Scott
Richard.
Walker.
Oh,
There
my
is-
God.
There is a pernicious phenomenon in this country, and it is being perpetrated by the political left by and large, and that is to imply that if you do not have a four-year college degree, there is something wrong with you. And we are-
I'm calling BS on that. This very president is trying to make it so everyone can go to community college.
Yes,
so before we indict here
Why
somebody
don't we-
that they only believe in four-level college, the leftists, they're trying to get it so more kids can afford to go to college.
Yeah, but
Richard,
Give
what
me a
they're
break.
doing, we have a government higher educational complex, and that's why higher education is becoming more and more expensive. $50,000 a year college tuition is insane. And
I'm sorry, that's a problem with Democrats?
well,
Did they
by
create
and
that?
large, because they support federal involvement in student
Nan,
loans.
it may have something to do with the fact that the earnings, lifetime earnings for people with college degrees are so far ahead of the earnings on average for people who don't have college degrees that there's a natural incentive and parents have a natural desire to see their kids go to four-year colleges and graduate.
But-
and I
the
think
debt
that's
that
And I'm sorry,
the
who
debt
at this
that
table
students are taking away
didn't want their
now
kid or
when they
support
go
their
to
kid to go to a
college is
four-year
ridiculous.
college?
Mike?
You complain about tuition every single day to me, right? I mean, so come on now.
know
We
some
all
of the-
know that that's what we want for
Some
our
of the
kids if we can
smartest-
swing it.
No, some of the smartest and most successful people I know did not go to college at
Did
all.
you want your son to go to four-year college?
Didn't matter to me.
Okay,
Didn't-
come on.
no, I'm dead serious.
This
It
is
did not
not
matter
going
to
to
me.
impact Scott
What's
Walker.
matter?
Oh,
what-
I don't think we'll
He's,
leave. I don't think we'll leave it.
he's a darling of the right that can energize the base,
Right,
and
exactly.
they're going to go on his
You're
record.
right, but here's my
And
question.
if you look
And
at
what's
that,
his
he's a
record?
success
position.
story.
He busted the union.
He's a
and that's
success
his
story
celebration.
for the
Right.
base.
He's pro-life.
That was a victory for
Success,
the people.
right.
he's also
Okay.
he's also attacking tenure
That's
in the
victory for
University
what?
of Wisconsin
people.
system.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little
It
dis-
was. Absolutely.
It's a
was.
little-
Talk to some of the
That's why he was
those
reelected
same
in
blue
that
collar
challenge.
folks here. They might have college. Let's see if they agree
They're
with you
being
over there.
abused by those
I was
unions.
just going to say it's a little disingenuous that he's attacking tenure in the Wisconsin public school system,
Yeah.
considering that he didn't graduate from a college.
It's
think
not
it's-
at all.
That's
It-
the only
to
time
me,
I think it's
to me,
That's a
it'll
very
be
liberal
fascinating.
perspective there.
Exactly
To
the
me,
piece, with all due respect.
we can all
we're
agree.
attacking tenure
We
here in
can
New York
all
State
agree
with
it's not a
Democrats doing it.
it's not a
Talking about
disqualifier to being a smart guy if you don't go to college. But it'd be fascinating to me to see how he plays it when asked about it on the trail. Okay, now for a very special comb-over report. Even for the Donald, even by his standards, he's been way over the top. He's caused David Letterman to literally come out of retirement to create a special top 10 list. Here are the top 3.
Number 3, if President, instead of pardoning a turkey on Thanksgiving, plans to evict the family on Thanksgiving. Number 2, Donald Trump has pissed off so many Mexicans, he's starring in a new movie entitled No Amigos. And the number 1 interesting fact about Donald Trump, thanks to Donald Trump, the Republican mascot is also an ass. There you go.
And of course, there are a lot of toupee jokes as well. Okay, now that was in San Antonio, and obviously he was there with Martin Short and Steve Barton, 2 old friends, and he literally came out for that. But we tried to top Letterman with our own top 3. And trust me, Trump is manna for heaven for shows like this here, but he is leading the Republican field here in the recent polls, and I'm not even talking about the crackpot polls here. So let's start, since we were talking about education, Mr. Walker, with Trump University. Yes, there was such a thing. It offered classes to teach you how to be like the Donald and be a real estate pro. It wound up getting sued for fraud. Number 2, particularly ironic in light of Trump's comments about Mexican rapists crossing the border, I am talking about Trump Baja in Mexico. 200 buyers. And by the way, a lot of these school teachers, folks who put their life savings into this, 200, 300 grand they saved and put towards condos that he said were flying off the shelves. If they didn't get there, they wouldn't get it. Turned out not a single one got built, and the vast majority of these folks lost all, not some, but all their money. And number one, the Trump shuttle. Remember that one? Probably not, because it was around for about 2 years, ran hourly flights between New York and Boston or D.C., lost a whole lot of cash, then disappeared. And we could continue. But, Richard?
Golf course went bankrupt today.
Yes.
Trump golf course.
That's right, in Puerto Rico. So, my friend Richard, I've heard a lot of
Everything's bankrupt in
Republicans.
Puerto Rico, by the way.
In fact, I played Lindsey Graham here. I thought he had a great line about Donald and also some of the folks here are trying to demonize the folks from south of the border and who those people are that come to this country. But can the party do anything to rein this guy in? I know Priebus tried talking to an hour to talk him off the ledge, and then he meeting with Sheriff Arpaio here doing some event to standing room only down in Arizona. Everybody agrees he is hurting the messaging right now for the party, but is there anything the party can do to try and keep him in line?
Look, I mean, he has his ability to go out and make his case. He will eventually fizzle out. Look, he's tapped into something important, which is we have to be more serious about immigration reform.
Is he being serious about it with his comments?
Maybe not the way he's going about it, which is very insensitive, and he can go in a way about it that's more intelligently spoken and planned out. I mean, however, do we need to be more aggressive with our neighbor and friend Mexico about dealing with borders? Do we need to penalize them for letting drug dealers escape, for not securing their side of the border, for taking our money and not doing anything with it? Perhaps we should. And I think he is interjecting a very important part in this conversation is that we do need immigration
Do you believe
reform.
he's helping or hurting your party right now?
Look, he's just playing up what's already been perceived about the party
So
by Democrats.
Nice try, Richard. Okay, he is the first Republican I've heard, Nan, that has not said he's not hurting the party and causing a huge distraction right now. I mean, look what we're talking about right now when Walker's announcing his own candidacy, and we're hardly alone tonight. Mm-hmm. How much is he hurting the party, and can the party actually do anything about it?
Well, I agree with Richard. I think, the party
You don't think he's hurting it?
The party is much stronger than Donald Trump.
It's always been stronger than just one person.
Right. Now, is Donald Trump hurting himself? I think he is.
I agree with that.
I think he is ultimately he's going to be hard to take seriously because of the way he presents his message. Is divisive. He doesn't sound presidential. He doesn't sound like a strong
Would
leader.
you want to be on a ballot with Donald Trump if he was your nominee?
I don't think anybody's going to be on a ballot with Donald
Except
Trump.
my only point is, are you surprised? I was a little bit. I know Dominic always says he's never surprised because he first called it, but that Trump is at 15%. Jeb Bush and friends are 11% and below. We do know this, Nan. Less than a month from now, there's going to be the first debate.
Right.
The top 10 are going to get there. Right. He's going to be on that stage. Right. My question to you is, are you surprised he's polling as well as he is? Even if we all thought he was a punchline, what does that say about what the primary electorate wants among Republican voters?
No, it doesn't surprise me because he's got tremendous name recognition. I mean, he's been on TV
And
for
people
years.
are angry. People
Right.
are
And
angry,
people are angry.
at this issue, which
Right.
is that people are allowed to come here and that we're not protecting our borders when we should be. We're not enforcing the law. President Obama said, you know what? We're not deporting people. I mean,
Right.
what type of position
Right.
is that? We're not going to execute
Gross
the law.
generalization,
Right.
but okay.
No,
Anyway,
that's
let's not
exactly
let
what
facts
I said.
get in the way of a good story.
Richard's right. We have gross failures by the federal government, and there is anger
And by the way,
that is
we've
legitimate.
deported more people into this president than under President Bush. But again,
but
let's not let
he did
facts get in
stop
the way of a
it.
good
He did
story.
stop.
But still, the borders are not secure, and we just had a beautiful young
Okay.
woman murdered in
Okay,
San
but he
Francisco.
also said the people are coming over. Rapists, killers. By the way, he made 11 million, which is the number everyone uses, to 30-something million. But again, let's not facts get in the way of a good story.
I don't think anybody here is defending Donald
No.
Trump in his position.
It
We're
doesn't sound like
certainly
you're
not.
condemning him.
No, I'm not condemning the party for an actions of Donald
Exactly.
Trump. I'm not going to condemn the Republican Party for Donald Trump's actions. The party stands of its own feet, and we have many different great people in the party.
I don't think
but
this.
Donald Trump is on his own.
I don't think this is a name recognition issue. Yes, he has name recognition, but people are buying what he's selling. At least the people who are pulling the lever right now.
2/3 of
It is-
Republicans
it
said
is
they would not vote for
It is
him.
speaking
Exactly.
to anger.
2/3.
It is speaking to anger in the Republican Party right now, which is dangerous, I think, for the party. And I go back to the Tea Party movement at its height. While it moved the party and certainly energized the base, I don't think it did a lot to benefit the party in the overall. And it's actually
Republicans
shrinking the
took
national
Congress.
prospect.
The House and
Yes.
the Senate are now Republicans.
Yes, and,
How did it benefit?
and it's sabotaged hopes for the White House. And I think that's the process
I
that
think the
continues.
White House is in play.
And I think,
Richard,
I think that is what
regionally,
Trump is tapping into.
regionally the math is indisputable that you're right that they've gotten more seats. But to me, look at your old poor boss, John Boehner here. I mean, the guy I thought was going to have a conniption so many times where they were taking us off the cliff or they weren't taking us off the cliff, and he couldn't control here, like herding cats. Dominic, I hear all the points. But you yourself have said, caution people who think that he's going to be gone, by August 1 or something. He's going to be around here for a while.
He's not going to be gone. I don't care what the experts say. Donald Trump is going to be around for a while. The only thing that may make him go is, and he can get 2 exemptions, I believe, 45-day exemptions, is when it show me the money.
Right?
When he's got to sit down and show me the money, where all his money comes from. Mr. Trump has 2 problems. The money issue, he doesn't want people to know what he's really worth, and his personal life. And so the personal life, I don't think that's going to be so much an issue as of right now.
Because everybody expects it, yeah.
But
And
he-
also all the
but
flip-flops.
and the flip flops. But he's connecting, and I don't see what the big deal is. I
And-
mean,
and that's why.
I learned a lot at the supermarket, Richard. A man stopped me the other day, and sometimes when I don't want to be bothered, they offer their opinions. And he said, I'm trying to hurry
Man
up
of
and
the
get
people,
away.
Thomas. Yeah,
Man of the
yeah.
people, right? I'm trying to hurry up and get away. And he goes, you know what? I know it didn't come out right, but a lot of people agree with what Donald Trump said.
God help us. All right.
Can we deny that?
I hit a break
Can we
here.
deny
All
that?
right. Coming up next, Governor Andrew Cuomo, he just watered down the SAFE Act. It was done in a quiet Friday night deal with Republicans, Democrats. They're not happy. And the gun control crowd is even hotter than that. Stay with us. We'll talk about that right after this.